everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome to my channel. Now, I want to talk to you today about dangers of social media. To some extent, not all social media is bad, but I do see a lot of warning signs and a lot of red flags out there in social media, and I wanted to share them with you, and I'm sure that to some extent you're familiar with a lot of them. So what am I talking about today? So for starters, I want to be very clear, and I want to say that I fully know and I'm fully aware that the medical community, such as people like myself who are in the mental health community, or people who are, medical doctors or endocrinologists, have felt trans community for a long time, and some of them still continue to fail you. I'm fully aware of that, and I'm really sorry for that, and I feel really bad for a lot of my colleagues who are not stepping up and specializing in fields such as this, or not providing really informative, top-notch information for all of you that you truly deserve to empower yourself with. And as a result, to this day, we still have a lot of mental health providers who play a role of a gatekeepers. And unfortunately, to this day, when you hear mental health providers such as myself talking about transgender care, the initial response is to mistrust me. And I totally get where it's coming from. And hopefully that will change as more of us step up to the plate and deliver some really good, valuable content for all of you. And also remove all of that gatekeeping things and recognize the importance of respecting your own autonomy to your body. Having said that, I also fully realize that nothing is going to be more supportive than your trans community out there, than people out there who are going through exact same experiences. Now, while a lot of us who are experts in the field may know a lot of other things because we read a lot of research, we work with community very closely, we observe different things, right? And me as a psychologist, I observe how people go through transition differently. So I get to experience firsthand what I think psychologically is helpful. I get to experience firsthand what kind of part of medical treatments tend to really work with individuals, and what really tends to help decrease dysphoria quicker and faster, and what helps people to get to the finish line quicker and faster. Now, having said that, again, your trans community is still going through that experience. While I may have the front seat to observation kind of window and to learning everything about it, I myself not going through that experience because I'm not transgender. And as a result, I'm losing on a little bit of really kind of organic nuances that all of you are familiar with. For that reason, your community is going to be very vital to you for support and very vital to you for advice, but I'm going to caution you here big time. So here comes dangers of social media. While Facebook and Instagram and Reddit and all of the other platforms are fantastic to connect with your trans tribe, with your trans community, with you, gender non-conforming individuals out there, and to share resources, right? It's a great way to reach out and to say, hey, where are you at located? What doctor are you seeing? Who is a great trans-friendly doctor? Who is not gatekeeper? How can I get my letters quicker? Who's going to be able to provide that evaluation? And also ask people, what are you going through? What tends to work for you? While all of that is really great, what I see, the dangers that I tend to see is that people tend to take what trans community tends to share as a kind of like as a dogmatic truth, or as an absolute credible source. And while a lot of it is credible, we have to remember that the person sharing it from their own inner experiences, and their subjective experience of it is going to be very, very different. And I know this firsthand because I run and facilitate a support group for trans women. And I see this all the time, where two trans women will go to exact the same doctor and will have completely different and opposite experiences. One of them is going to have an amazing experience and going to say that this is the world's greatest surgeon, and another one is going to say that the person was completely disregarding or didn't listen to what she wanted and wasn't really mindful. So this is why it becomes really important. I don't want you to stop reaching out to your community. I don't want you to stop listening or asking for advice from your community. I think that's very important, and a lot of times your community can provide you with the better information than people like me can. But I do want you to keep a very smart cap on, and I do want you to take everything with a grain of salt, and I do want you to remember that this is a person's personal experience, and then I want you to do a little bit of your own homework. Transgender field and transgender medical field especially is constantly growing and expanding. And as it is growing and expanding, we're collecting much more research and information out there. And we're learning a lot about medicine, we're learning a lot about hormones, the effect on the hormones, we're learning a lot about surgeries, which techniques are better, we're learning a lot about mental health, what to do and whether gender affirming therapy is the best and how to go about it. So it's really important to keep in mind that people can offer their opinions, but it's just an opinion. And you still have to ask yourself, okay, this is a great opinion, but let me keep myself in check and let me ask myself, what can I get out of it? How can I go and search for a valuable source? Or how can I maybe take this information to an expert in my field? Maybe you have a doctor you're already seeing that you trust and you work really well with. So let me give you an example. This is actually a great example. A few months ago, actually probably close to several months ago, I wrote an article about the ugly truth behind spironolactone, which a lot of trans women have to take as anti-androgen blockers. And I wrote this article citing research that Beverly has done, which is an amazing resource that she has compiled, observing a lot of trans women and how Spiro tends to affect them. Well, when I wrote this article, a lot of women that are taking Spiro has got, obviously didn't really like what they had to hear about it, because Spiro, as I pointed out, is not really the bad thing for you. So as a result, people just decided to either stop taking Spiro, which is really bad. You shouldn't do that. You should taper off things. You should always, first of all, talk to your doctor, period, about anything you try to change. But then people started telling other people what they should be doing, and other people started taking it with the credence of truth and meddling with their hormones. This is an example I'm trying to make where the dangers of the community can become very dangerous in the sense that you're not keeping your cap on. And what you need to do when you come across information that is counter to what you're doing, to your transition, to wherever you are in your transition, is the first step you need to do is you take that information to your medical doctor. You need to ask them. Again, I know you don't come from a habit of trusting doctors, and a lot of doctors still won't listen, and I totally understand that, but there are a lot of medical providers such as myself who are starting to step up to the plate, who are starting to share a lot of information online, whom you can reach out and you can ask them, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Now, while I'm not a MT, so I can't give you a medical advice when you reach out to me, and I don't give medical advice. If you were to ever reach out to me about something psychologically related that you heard and you wanted to confirm and you wanted me to kind of let you know where it stands, I would be more willing to do that. And the same thing with the medical providers. There's a lot of medical providers who love to hear from you and who would share their 2 cents on this topic. So be mindful. Again, your sisters and your brothers are out there to support you. That's great. Community is an amazing thing. But I see a lot of cross-pollinating information on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram that is not being helpful. It's almost like everybody's suddenly an expert. And I think all of you are experts when it comes to your body. I want to caution you here because I'm sorry, none of us are experts when it comes to somebody else's body. Okay, again, we're all experts because we know ourselves. We know what works for us, but it doesn't make us an expert in towards somebody else's body. So be mindful what you're sharing out there. Be mindful when you hear things on the social media, and keep in mind that people talking about themselves. It's like dieting, right? Have you ever dieted? Well, everybody's going to have a different outcome toward diet. Some people start Weight Watchers, for example, and they lose tremendous amount of weight from the get-go. Some people struggle, they can't really drop that weight. So you have to keep your body in mind. You have to wear that kind of discrepancy hat, and you have to reach out to professionals, and you also have to ask, or you have to look out there, see what kind of professionals share information, and get informed that way. Comment below, let me know if that ever happened to you, if you ever heard somebody say something on social media, you decided to follow that advice, it maybe wasn't really something that was working for you. What are your relationship to social media in general? Do you see that as a community that you can reach out to and get help? Or do you feel like a lot of information that is being shared can sometimes fall into this dangerous trap? So do comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.